Paperbound comes out at the end of March. This is some beta footage just prior to release, where you'll notice that a lot of the graphical interfaces have been updated, as well as the weapons that the characters themselves have. Rather than just a generic weapon for everyone, they have their own individual melee weapons now. Still, the scissors and obviously the ink bombs remain the same. And there is a locked book, which I don't know how to access quite yet. Maybe it's just locked prior to release. It was initially there in the beta. Maybe you have to do something special in the main game to unlock it. It's hard to say. But as you can see, looking through the books, each individual level is based on passages from real literary books, so there is a literary background which inspired the levels, and maybe you can guess them, maybe you can't, maybe you know them. It's hard to say. Either way, it's set across the 5 books, and each one has their own individual style, so the book has its own sort of style, and then there's the passages from the books that inspired the particular level, and so forth. There are quite a few levels, although some appear to have been removed that were there prior in the beta. Maybe they're again unlockables and they don't want you to have access to them too early. And obviously there are parodies from associated games that you can choose from to play in the main game. Now, if you go into the main game, you'll also notice that you have the option to add automatons. I don't know the exact pronunciation. Automatons. I'm getting that quite wrong, aren't I? And obviously there are literary references to these in some of the books as well, so these are basically the NPCs. So if you don't have access to someone to play with at the moment, you can play against the computers, and the computers, they tend to have varying intelligence. Some of them do seem to be quite smart, and some of them tend to camp the X's and different things, so they can be a challenge, although sometimes you can just overwhelm them entirely. So I think there's a dice roll on what their intelligence level is at the time being. So, up to 4 players, and obviously it did have the PS4 pad at one point, so this is also coming to the PlayStation Network, and I believe Xbox as well. I can't confirm that for sure, I haven't asked the developers, but obviously it's going to be on Steam, and this is coming out at the end of March. Price point again, I'm unsure of at the present time. Potential expansions that they could think about is whether they want to have a level editor for the workshop on Steam, so you could create your own levels. Now there are 2 options that they could go down for this if they decide to do this. Again, this isn't something that's currently planned or in the game, this is just a potential idea I had. They could go Team 17 Worms sort of style. I'm talking original Amiga generational Worms, where you essentially had MS Paint and you could do absolutely anything, and in the blank space, the white space, that's where the level gets played, and anything else is essentially walls and barriers. So you could pretty much build absolutely anything in that state if they choose to go down that avenue. Obviously there are reasons they might not go down that, because obviously it would ruin the graphical style and not fit in with a lot of the levels. And obviously the backgrounds for that would be quite difficult because there are the 2 interlacing layers. The second option is to do more of the Aquarius style of level editor, where you have set pieces that you can put in the blocks, both in the foreground and the background. So you could create your own levels with the set pieces that are used in the main game, and build an entirely themed level that fits in with the game's graphical design and layout, because you've got the set pieces to use from the main game content in different block sizes that you could use and place in both the foreground and the background to make a very attractive and well-designed level that fits the game style and fits it entirely. So that would be a very good option to go down, and obviously they could have this as a separate book, or perhaps a pen and quill on the side as sort of a write your own story mode. So, you know, it's going to be the workshop content for build your own levels or load up user-based levels, but that would fit with the graphical style. So while they've got the books on the table, there's the pen and ink quill, perhaps to be able to put in your own level content and expand the game even further and add creativity. Now, designing your own character would probably be far beyond the capabilities, because you'd have to animate it and make it fit in entirely, so that would probably remain as DLC or something for the devs to develop and not workshop content. But as the game levels would go, that would fit in and add variety of the levels and extra books. Perhaps even DLC, which could be going down the bookshop and buying additional books and novels. But again, these are just potential future expansions they could think about when they're talking about the game. But as it stands, the game is very fun, very frantic, and definitely a must-own party-based game. So I would recommend purchase, and it comes out at the end of March, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. This was Paperbound, now available soon on Steam and PlayStation. Goodbye.